You bid farewell to the radiant youth, and he sent you back to our chapter house in Stonebridge, where I awaited your return. In the weeks that followed, news spread of Jane Cassinder's defeat. Her army scattered, giving us time to rest and regroup. Martin Guiscard returned safely from the Spire, along with Meister Wolf and the Automaton army. Only a few weeks later, elections were held in Stonebridge. Meister Wolf, who had been so public in his support of the Legion, swept to victory and was declared mayor of the city. He credited you for your success. The people of Stonebridge deeply respected your decision to hand over the dapper old gent to the city authorities. After the humiliating events in the Foundry, Meister Castle was forced to resign as Guildmaster of Ironmongers. The Cyclopses negotiated a new contract for higher wages, and with the help of Meister Fiddlewick, formed a new workers' union. For the first time in 100 years, they were permitted to leave the Foundry and spend their newfound wealth in the markets and taverns of Stonebridge. Cyclopses are becoming an increasingly common sight in Stonebridge, and many believe that they will eventually take their place as equal citizens of the town. After many months of confinement, the dapper old gent was sent to the gallows and hanged. His body was supposed to be returned to the Legion.
Wow,
but it vanished
ciekawe.
the following night. To this day, no one has been able to find the gent's remains. It seems he is destined to remain a mystery in death, just as he was in life. With the reopening of the Heroes' Crypt, pilgrims returned to the Rukenval, and merchants followed. The following winter was harsh, just as Lazar Basili feared. But thanks to the trade from the south, the people of Ravensrill stayed warm and fed. When spring came, many more pilgrims arrived, and the town of Ravensrill grew wealthy again. Lazar and his people built a new stone wall around the town, and reclaimed their abandoned houses and farmsteads from the forest. It is a happy change of fortune for a long-suffering town. In his last letter to me, Lazar added one other piece of news. Gunderic Manor has a new mistress, a witch called Leona. The manor has become a gathering place for scores of Lescanzi witches, many of whom are apparently quite beautiful. Lazar reports that the young men of Ravensrill have also begun frequenting the manor, much to the irritation of their mothers and wives. Since the local men will not hear any talk of banishing the witches, it appears that Leona and her people have found a new home, which was perhaps
No raczej to nie być.
from the start. Queen Rosalind abandoned Glitterdelve, embarking on a tour of all the cities and towns of the West, meeting as many of her subjects as she could. The Queen showed all the energy of youth, and I think she fully expects to reunite the country in a matter of months, not years. Reality may not be so kind as Lord Devonsey has tried to make her understand. In truth, the future of this country depends more upon what we decide. If she doesn't have the Legion behind her, the Queen is only a single voice, well-meaning though she might be. As for Devonsey himself, I think the man was impressed by your decision to spare Jane Cassinder, as the Queen had asked. When he last visited Stonebridge, he spent a great deal of time in our chapter house. I believe he might actually be willing to rejoin our ranks, if we choose to accept him. Rajani and her sisters returned to Stonebridge,
No raczej.
and carefully disguised. Jane Cassinder's defeat affected them deeply, though not in the way I expected. Their devotion to Jane was replaced by a deep admiration for your companion, Anjali. I think they saw in Anjali the leader they should have followed all along, and they have lately expressed a desire to join our ranks. I maintain my suspicion of any Archon who once followed Jane, but I believe that redemption is not impossible, even for them. Jane Cassinder was delivered into the hands of the royal court. Just as Jane herself had predicted, Rosalind treated her with compassion and respect. Perhaps the girl queen saw only Jane's royal blood, and she was desperate for some connection to the family she had lost. Jane was treated almost as a member of the court, a prisoner in name only. Many whispered openly that this was no justice at all.
No
It's no
raczej.
surprise that it ended as it did. One morning, Jane Cassinder was found strangled in her bed, a noose around her throat. The noose, many said, that should have hanged her. Surrounded by men and women of the royal court who had suffered terribly at Jane's hands, it was impossible to find her killer. But that was not the greatest mystery of all. For Jane Cassinder had not been bound or restrained in any way. She should have been able to defend herself from her murderers, but she did not. As for the Legion, the rest of our story is yet to be told. We have a nation to reforge, a fellowship to rebuild, and old enemies who would see us destroyed. And we have questions to decide. Who will assume true power in Ebb if the nation is restored? And who will take the mantle of Grand Master? But these matters I leave for another chronicle and another time. Whatever happens, know that you will not face the future alone. The Legion will stand by you, always.
No! I dziękuję wam za oglądanie tego Let's Playa Dungeon Cz. 3. Mam nadzieję, że się wam podobało, tak jak mi się podobało to nagrywać. Cóż, gra mi się całkiem podoba, chociaż straciła ten urok w starszych seriach, co pewnie pokażę w innych Let's Playach, bo mam zamiar nagrać jej starszych odpowiedników. No, ale gra jest dość ciekawa. Jeszcze raz tak powiem. No i komentujcie, subskrybujcie i do zobaczenia w innych seriach. Na razie!